It's the Life After High School podcast.
Pat, buddy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, explain to me, kind of, we'll start off here, what was your transition like from high school to Kevin right now?
Oh, yeah, man. Let me think here. So, kind of when I was in high school, like, you know, like obviously picking your classes, trying to figure out what you want to do. I was kind of at the time, man, I was just focused on having fun in high school.
Right.
I was really focused on working out. I was playing a lot of sports too, so I enjoyed doing that. So, not that I put my education on the back burner, but it wasn't like a main priority for me at the time, right? So, you know, I had a few ideas, you know, possibly what I could do.
Yeah.
I also thought about, you know, what I was good at. Realized that I was really, you know, extroverted. I was a people person, so that kind of helped in my favor. But I honestly didn't really know what I wanted to do, man. So I kind of I went with what my parents were saying, like go into a trade. And like looking back on it now, I realized that, I mean, obviously it's a lot different from what I am doing now, right?
A little bit, yeah.
But I think, you know, so I went into Cambrian. I think I did like a month of electrical.
Really?
And then I was like, fuck this, man. I don't want to do this shit. Like,
Nice.
you know, looking back, it's a great job. So, you know, I'd be making great money, but I don't think it would be something that I want to do, right? So yeah, I did that, and I ended up switching into a fitness program at Cambrian, just Flugu. I'm sure you heard of it. It's like a
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I did that, and I realized I was like, man, I don't think this is for me, right? So I took a year off, and then I heard about this program in North Bay where it's kind of like tailored around like Olympic weightlifting,
Nice.
which is something that was totally new to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe I'll check this out. So went in there, and I'd heard about the opportunity that I could go to Ireland and get my degree in strength and conditioning. Yeah, so that was like, I was like, man, that caught my attention, you know. So I was like, man, like this would be a great opportunity. So I did that. Met some of my best buddies. Like I think these guys are gonna stand at my wedding, man. Like these guys are my best buddies, man. So
nice.
like,
That's awesome.
yeah, man, it was just great. So I ended up taking 2 years there, and then I ended up going to Ireland.
Nice.
So it was 4 months there, and I had to get into an internship afterwards. So yeah, man, while I was there, I learned so much about strength and conditioning, and then more or less training athletes. And then yeah, and here I am now, and then that's how you and I kind of got reconnected, just through the gym and stuff. So
Yeah, it's a sweet gym, dude.
Yeah,
I love it. So, nice.
yeah, so that was basically like, kind of just give you a quick summary. Yeah, so like I got into strength and conditioning, got in contact with Mitch because Mitch Gagnon, former UFC fighter. So
Shout out to him.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch this.
I know he's gonna watch
Yeah, he's gonna watch
Corey's.
this
Yeah,
one.
I'm gonna watch Corey's, so I know he's gonna watch this one.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I got in contact with Mitch, just through, actually my mom works as his mother-in-law, but anyway, so got in contact with him, and he's like, yeah, man, I'd love to have you on board. So we got, I can't remember if we Skype called or something or whatever. I called him or whatever. I hit him up and I was like, hey, man, like, I'm a strength and conditioning student. I heard you have a facility. Obviously, I'm familiar with who you are. You know, I'd love to come work for you. So he's like, yeah, man, we'll try it out. So I came in, man, it was intimidating as fuck. Like, meeting him for the first time, I was just like...
He's a personality.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, I met him, and then literally, man, within like the first 2 weeks, he pulled me aside. He's like, dude, like, you're killing this, man.
Nice.
And he's like, I'd love to have you on board. He's like, I want to start you off small right now just because, you know, the business is growing, right? We started off in that basement on Elm Street. So have you ever seen the old
I've
gym?
seen photos and videos, but never been inside. But the photos and videos seem like that's, you don't need more than that.
Man, when I first came in, I was like, it was like probably 2 of these rooms. Like, it's a tiny gym, right? So I was like, okay, like trying to get a feel for it. But so obviously I went to school to train athletes, right? And like he kind of explained that like the clientele was basically 50-50, right? So like I had said, you know, we deal with a lot of athletes, like Tyler Bertuzzi, which was awesome working with him.
Nice,
super nice guy. But yeah, so it's like half our clients are, you know, athletes and half are just everyday individuals, you know, just looking for something different as opposed to like personal training. I don't know if you kind of get that vibe. Like, I don't know if you've ever been with another trainer, but it's like strength and conditioning as a whole, and that's one thing I want people to understand is it is a lot different than just personal training, right? So yeah, I started working with the clients. He's like, man, you're doing a great job. Love to have you on board. And then we moved to this new facility where he combines troop inspired and it's just like
sick.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
It's easy.
So yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at now, man. Like it's just it almost I didn't think, I honestly never thought I'd be working with like MMA fighters and training the athletes that I do got to train, and even the clients that aren't athletes, man.
Yeah.
Like everyone's such, like the atmosphere at that gym. It's just great energy, man, and it's contagious, and I look forward to going in every day. It's not a burden for me, and it doesn't really feel like a job. It's more or less like I'll put in a 12-hour day, and it's like, man, I could go.
It's like that was dope.
Yeah, I can go for another few hours. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, you seem to be. One thing I noticed, especially with you, is you don't seem to have bad days, and you don't seem to have good days. You seem to always have a great, consistent day. Like there's never on Tuesday you're not quite there, and then Thursdays you're like really into it, or vice versa. Like you don't seem fatigued or anything. Like I get you later in the day.
Yeah, man. One of my latest ones,
I'm
man,
like,
for sure.
I'm like, man, Pat's on it. Like you're running like 4 different people around, and it's tricky. How do you find it? Because they're like half-hour segments, but there isn't. Everyone seems to interchange, right? Because they have that half hour, like 5 to 5:30, 5:30 to 6, 6 to 6:30. But all 3 of those people could be working out at the exact same time. Do you how do you manage that personally when you have that challenge?
Honestly, man, when I first started, I think it was I was worried because I didn't want to I wanted the quality of service to be the same across the board, right? Like I didn't want anybody to feel like they weren't getting the same energy that they would get as if they're working with me in the morning, or if it's the end of my 10-hour shift, right? Like it's and kind of just managing as many people, because the max we'll have is 4 right within that hour. And I think Mitch did a really great job at developing that flow to it, right? So like someone that we take on a new client for the first month or so, we're very make sure that they feel comfortable, but understand how our dynamic works. Understand that everybody's getting overseen, but like I would feel comfortable. Like you and I have been working together for a few months, right? So I would feel comfortable. It's like, okay, I know you know how to execute this lift properly. So if I have to turn my head for a sec just to keep an eye on another client, I know you're comfortable doing that. And that's what he wanted to develop, right? He wanted everybody to feel comfortable and essentially just build an environment where people can see, or people feel comfortable knowing that we're there to overshadow, but at the same time, I'm okay doing one thing on my own, and Pat's not or Troy or Mitch is not overlooking me the whole time, right?
You're overshadowing without micromanaging.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
I like that approach to it. Yeah, it seems to be like being in it so far. I love it. Like I only train, like I only lift weights. This is gonna be shock for everybody. Only twice a week, and yet I feel like
it's like 5 days a week, right?
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's what people are like, dude, you get added meat on you. I'm like,
dude, I'm noticing, man.
Thank you. One day,
man.
Squeeze my sleeves of yours.
There you go.
I'm like, fuck. But I'll notice that, and I'll hear these things, and it's interesting because I've never felt stronger, and I've lifted, because in college, you know what I mean? You'll understand this, where you just, when you don't know, you're just like, the more you do it, the better you must become at it.
Absolutely,
and that's just like the foundation thought process, I believe, for most people at that age, where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do a bunch of deadlifts, heavy bench squat, try to go PR every day, and then you're like, why am I not getting bigger and stronger? But now, with all that, it's like lifting weights only twice a week, and then on top of all the, you don't want to do so much cardio, it's like jiu-jitsu is pretty much all heart rate.
Absolutely.
Right, so doing all that and still adding size and strength is still, I never thought it could be done, but you guys are doing it.
Let's do it,
Yeah, it's impressive. It's really impressive. So would you say you chose strength and conditioning as a career path? Let's say career path. Because of your, just your habits or your extrovert abilities, or just your love for the training?
That's a good question. It's tough, man, because I think, some days I see it as a hobby, right? It's just like, I love doing this. It's like, but I think just even in the last few months or so, just seeing how much inspired our business has grown. And I say our business because I think Mitch and Troy, we have such a good relationship, man. It's I consider Mitch one of my best buddies, right? And it's like I wouldn't even consider him as a boss. He hates me. He's like, don't call me your boss, man. That's you know what I mean. But I think that there's times where I think of it as a hobby. But I think now I see the potential and how much value I can offer. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like I don't think not that I undervalue what I'm offering, but I think that it's like, for me, it's just something I'm so used to, right?
Right.
So it's like, man, these people are paying, a good amount of money for what I have to offer, and it's like I'm only 23 years old. I mean, I'm fresh out of school, but that's one thing that I talked to when I was talking to Troy about it. It's like, a lot of guys coming out of school, like whether it's kinesiology or something in that like human kinetics field, we're lacking a lot of the experience, right, in the application of applying that with individuals, and I'm very lucky to be able to do that like right out of the get-go, right? Like as soon as I finished my degree, I was on to an internship, and I was working with like guys like Troy, 20 years experience, worked with numerous professional athletes. The guy's freaking great, man. And then Mitch fighting in the OC, his fight career, him working with like traveling the world, like working with some of the top strength and conditioning coaches, and being able to bring that back here. And then I was just soaking everything in like a sponge, right? It's
an overload of knowledge that they both have, and I think they're also very. Like I'll mention one comment to Troy about a lift that I did or how I'm feeling, and he'll give me 20 minutes worth of like feedback about it, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So I can imagine how you must feel being in there, surrounded by them every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Getting all that knowledge.
Exactly. And I think, I just think that as a career path, I never thought that I could make this something where I could, be able to provide for my family or whatever it may be. But I think that the direction we're heading in, because I feel like, and some people may disagree, but especially Northern Ontario, really lacking athletic development. Like you go down south, man, you go to the States, man, it's like they have a strength and conditioning class in high school. They have a strength and conditioning coach that's his full-time job. Wow. To work in a high school, work with the team, because it's a science, man. It's not like I'm just gonna throw you in the weight room and you're gonna get better. Like get a little better, but there's a lot more optimal way to do it, right?
And they have like weight room class in high school or whatever, which is
strength and conditioning, man. Like it's they got guys with PhDs coming in and teaching these kids how to properly lift and developing athletes. That's why, the States is far superior with us in sports, right?
Yeah. They start younger.
Exactly.
They start better. Like, they lay that brick perfectly before they build the rest of the house.
Exactly, man, exactly. And I think, sorry, I just keep going off topic.
No, like, go on. It's good.
As a career path, I never realized how much of an impact I can make, at least here in Sudbury. Yeah. And I think from like a hockey base, like Sudbury's obviously really well because we're northern city, but I think like the MMA community, like baseball's going a little bit more, but just so many different sports that strength and conditioning is literally would benefit so much more to these sports. And I think that myself and the guys in Inspire would be able to essentially just develop that community base and develop that just the right way to do it for athletes, right? Because I really think that is lacking in the North. And I think that if I'm able to do that as my career for the rest of my life, it's like, hey man, it's not a bad gig at all. So
nice. So then what habits or like tendencies do you have that you believe, because you're right, you don't have that 20 plus years of experience, right? Or that like experience that Mitch has, but what do you have, like what habits do you bring to the table that makes you different and unique, that help people achieve their goals and stuff?
Honestly, man, I think that it's the fact that I'm always like constantly learning. I am fresh out of school. Like when I came out of school, man, I was like, fuck, I know it all. You know what I mean? Like I had that, like I was like,
love it.
Man, like I just got my bachelor of science, strength conditioning. Like I know nothing, man. And then like literally a week being into the gym, I was humbled like crazy, right? And I think the fact that I'm always constantly learning, like literally I go home from a 10-hour day, man, and I'm doing research like before I go to bed, right?
Nice.
I'm looking up like articles from the NSCA, and I'm constantly just trying to learn stuff so that I can apply that at the gym. And I think that not that a lot of people aren't willing to do that, but I think that it's that's what sets us aside, or that's what kind of makes us at Inspired, like the fact that we're constantly wanting to learn.
Right.
So eventually, like in the future, like everyone's gonna want to come to us, right? And I think that's what just my initiative to do so, but like Troy and Mitch saying too, like they're always constantly learning. Like we're always talking about new things and new research that's coming out, and I think that that just kind of sets me ahead because I'm willing to like put in that work. That not saying that others won't, but I think that especially in this field, it's around here it is lacking. So
it's nice to have your open mind. coming out of school, when you're young enough that you're able to apply everything and learn a bunch of this information, that's just being passed down, and now you're just flooding everybody with it. And like I'm benefiting from it, as well as like a lot of other people, which is one thing that I try when I do like talk to people about like weights and where I train. Like, man, you lifting, like, you know, back to what we said, like, like looking stronger, like we're performing better. And it's a testament to you guys and the way you've designed your whole program. And it's like, you won't, I don't, excuse me, jeez. So I won't have, like, I don't need to train 6 days a week to get certain numbers in terms of weightlifting at least. But the strength and conditioning, I think what I try to tell people also, like from my perspective of Inspired, is if they don't, because people's main excuse, the one that I at least, like, I'm going to ask you in a second what excuse you hear the most, but I don't have enough time. Right, obviously motivation, discipline, they come in later, but people's like, I don't have enough time. It's like twice a week for an hour. You
at
most. That's an hour from getting to the gym, like all the, like 10 to 6 or like 5 to 6 I start, and then I'm done at like 7ish. That's if I like take my time and like talk with you guys as we go. So those are just kind of what like tendencies I see with the excuse of there's not enough time to work out. It's like, you know, how much time do you really need?
And that's the thing too. I think, like you said, motivation is a huge part of that. And I think, you know, some of our like clients that do come, you know, we offer so much, but I think a lot of people just need that motivation factor, and that's where like a coach comes in, and it's great to tell you, it's like, no, you're gonna do this, right? And it's just keeping you accountable, right? Like some days, man, it's like you don't want to do those fucking farmer carries, man.
Bear crawls, farmer
shit, like. But
like, are you sure, Pat?
Well, exactly. But I think like motivation obviously is a big factor. But just people using the excuse of not having enough time. It's like, I think people in the beginning, they don't realize because they don't see the change right away. But I think that they don't understand how much it's going to better your life in other areas and like other aspects of your life, right? Like I think. You know, just making that small amount of time for yourself on a weekly basis, like you said, like you're in there 2 hours with me every week, and then you're doing gyms and stuff, like, but you enjoy it, right? But for someone who doesn't necessarily enjoy the gym, I think they just haven't really just got the feel for it yet to understand how good it's going to make them feel, and then how much it's going to better their life in other aspects, like I said, right? So I think motivation does come down to it, but it's a habit, man. Like once you make it a habit, it's like, dude, it's nothing for you, right?
So easy once it's a habit.
Exactly, and you'll look forward to it, man. And I think, you know, like understanding how much it can benefit your life in other areas, like just be more energized, man. Like I
100%.
You know what I mean? Like if you're more energized, man, like your family life's gonna be better. You're gonna want to do more things with your family. You're gonna be more eager to learn other things, man. It's just and stuff outside the weight room, and it really tests like your character as well, right? Like I'll tell you, like the other day, you're like, man, I want to do these. I think we're doing like circuit carries or some shit. I could do, but I was like, man, like it shows character, man. Like there's some guys that I get in there, and it's like, fuck, man, these guys hustle, man. Like, I got a guy. I don't know, can we say names on here and stuff?
Sure.
I got a guy, Tyler Shaw, man. I started working with him. He's
a beast.
Dude, like, the guy's fucking insane, man. And just his story, man. It's like, some days he'll come in, and I could tell, you know, because he's dealt with a lot of health issues and whatnot, but I could tell he's not feeling it. But that guy fucking puts it in, man. He doesn't care, like, how he's feeling. He's like, I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do what's laid out for today. It might not be the best, my performance I'm gonna do, but I'm going to get it done, man. So... And I think that's, and having his energy, it feeds off to a lot of other people in the gym. You should come work out in the morning when he's there, man. It's pretty fucking sweet. So, but yeah, so
nice. I find with, like, I understand what you mean with the energy. I find from when I show up, that's like my downtime. My downtime of the day is lifting weights with you watching. It's like, it's intimidating, but it's also relieving because I know it's not that bad. I look forward to it. I don't ever have the attitude that some people have was like, I have to go work out. It's like, you don't have to. I was like, I don't gotta work out. I get to work out.
Right, exactly.
You know? And like, like lifting weights is fun.
Yeah.
You know, I see the benefit, and to your testament with the energy and making like your whole life better. I have more energy to do jiu-jitsu, which if I didn't weightlift, I would have less energy for jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I would get home, I'd be exhausted, and then that would carry over to the next day, and then it would only add up and tax myself more. But putting in that extra hour at most, once like 2 hours a week, has made such a difference in terms of just energy and then recovery and like just
that's huge, yeah.
right, because then you're able to not just in the gym, but like you said, in life you're able to look, and I find myself having more energy to do like little things like just reading and playing guitar and like all that other stuff, like researching for this instead of like I gotta record, I've prepared 2 questions.
Yeah, just building habits, essentially what
more
it is, right?
Motivation.
Yeah.
You're more inspired. You know? Yeah. I'm waiting for that one for a while. I'm like, all right, how do I want to?
I seen your video on Instagram there with the. We were talking. We had that conversation and just being grateful, and you're like, I was inspired. I was like,
I was like,
throw it in there.
like, Pat will get it.
Yeah,
I was like, anyone who watches this who knows exactly what I'm talking about, they'll understand.
Yeah.
This way. So switching gears, but how do you specialize your programs between women and men if they each have similar goals?
So that's one thing. Like a lot of like training a woman it's not like training a smaller man. There's a lot of different ways that we have to train that, right? For example, like women, essentially they're gonna have. So like say for you and I, like we just finished a big strength block, right? They crushed that. So we just finished a big strength block, right? So like typically with men, we're probably essentially more fast twitch muscle fiber, right? So like we're gonna have the ability to the difference between our 1 rep max and like our 5 rep max is gonna be not substantial, but it's gonna be different. Like if your 1 rep max being 100%, you know, you can hit, let's say with if we were just doing 1 set of 5 or testing your 5 rep max, you're probably looking at that like 85 to 90%, right? Whereas a woman is gonna have her 1 rep max is going to be a lot closer to what she can do with her rep work, if that makes sense. So like, say for example, we're doing like a 3x10 with a girl on bench press or something, right, at like 70%. That weight is going to be closer to her 1 rep max, right? So that's something we have to take into consideration. Also, Troy made a bunch of great videos on like women in their menstrual cycle. I don't know if you watched any of those, but he made like a 5-part series how that affects their energy and what block of training they should focus on within those times, whatever they're in their cycle.
Is that on like YouTube, Facebook?
It's on YouTube. You put it on Facebook too. I mean, you have to ask me about it more. I haven't really dived into it too much.
It's not an Inspired thing though, right? It's a Troy thing?
No, it should be on Inspired.
It should be on Inspired for sure. Interesting though.
Yeah. But that's one thing, kind of just going off topic there, I think, with trainers and whatnot, like that's where a strength and conditioning coach comes into play, right? Like you guys are going to come in and do the work. You're just going to do what we told you to do, right? It's our job to, whatever your goal may be, like for you, you're trying to get stronger. For jiu-jitsu, you're trying to get more explosive, right? All the schooling and the education, the knowledge that we built up, and you just have to execute the work.
Exactly.
Right?
It's good teamwork.
Exactly, man. And I think, like for example, like when we were talking, because every time, like when you and I are training, I like to make it almost like a lesson so that you're learning as we go, right?
I like that. And I feel you know that I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I appreciate that.
I think, you know, a lot of the clients enjoy that I do that is I explain why we're doing certain things. Like I remember I had a client, for example, we were doing a strength block and I had him doing a 10x3. He's like, why the fuck are we doing 10 sets of 3? I was like, hey, look at it like this, right? So I was like,
I understand.
You know what I mean? Like he was just like, man, I'm gonna go in the gym. I'm just gonna do like sets of 10 or 12 on bench, right? So look at it like this, right? So say you were doing a 3x10 with like 70% of your 1 rep max. Okay, so you're gonna have 3 sets where you're gonna start from a rest state, right? So we do your first set, whatever we break 60 to 90 seconds.
Yeah.
We do your second, same thing. We do your third. If we're doing 10 sets of 3, we're essentially getting 10 starts from a rest position, right? So like we did our first set, rest for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, and we're doing that 10 times. So you're gonna be able to produce more output with the 10 sets of 3, thus allowing you to train at heavier loads, right?
Nice.
So we can work at that, like with the 10x3, work anywhere from like 85%. We can essentially do more sets, exerting more power that way, right? The total volume is the same. We're still doing 30 repetitions with that 3x10, but you're working with a lot heavier loads, and you're getting 10 starts with that weight at a higher intensity. So if you're trying to focus on strength, so a lot of people don't understand that. Like, yeah, I can just, if I just want to put you in the gym and just kill you that day, but we're not getting any benefit from that workout. You're not getting stronger. I'm just fatiguing you, man.
Yeah.
You might put on a little bit of size over the months, and we just keep doing that, but essentially you're going to burn out. Like when I talked to you the other day about that super compensation, when we looked at the graph. So like for example, we did a 6-week block. I increase the demand on your body for that 6 weeks, and then I get you to deload for a week, so that when you go back to performing again, boom, you're gonna be stronger.
You explained that to one of your clients. I think it was Mel. She was in the recovery room Friday when I was in there, and then I was explaining because we were talking about like her running and her motivation for it, and then I was telling her like similar to jiu-jitsu, except my motivation's there.
Right.
Like I want to strangle people, but I also want that it is what it is, I guess. And but I was like, but my body is at a point where I've pushed it in terms of weights, and then like I'll increase the amount of times I do jiu-jitsu leading up to a tournament, and then I try to keep that after the tournament, right? Because you go and I have like 4 hard matches at a tournament, and then I'll show up Sunday and do another like 6-10 rounds and drill and whatnot, and then do it again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then do it again, and I'm not deloading. So I was kind of explaining that, which you guys are right. I was like, preach your video. I was like, man, you have to come down the same amount that you went up, or else you can't increase. It's something along those lines. You said it better. Right?
You gotta look at it, man, where it's like, we can't just keep asking our body to do more, right? Like I can't just keep increasing the demand. There's gonna get to a point where your body's just gonna fatigue, your performance is gonna start going down. I'm actually dropping a video about it this week, so stay tuned for that.
Check it out.
Whiteboard Wednesdays, yeah. So,
that cross promotion,
right? But like essentially, like we're increasing demand on your body to a certain point where we need to. We're gonna get to a point where your performance is gonna start declining, right? So that's when we have to pull back, let your body resensitize, and then boom, you're gonna, ideally if that block of training went well, you're essentially gonna be that much stronger or that much more explosive, whatever block it was. And then,
hence the deloading.
Exactly, man. And like when I talked to you the other day, I was like, let me know what matches you're planning on doing for next year so I can periodize it, because a lot of the old school mentality was that I gotta work you to the ground, man. And there's so many like studies debunking this, right? Like I can't just keep asking you to do more on your body. You're gonna burn out. So essentially, and that's where a strength and conditioning coach comes into play, where we can optimize or essentially build your program based off when your tournament is. So say it's an 8-week time, so we run a 6-week block or a 7-week block, whatever it is, and then I tailor all your training back so that when you go to perform on that 8-week, man, you're gonna be much stronger. Or ideally, like I said, if the block went well, you're gonna be a little bit stronger than you were when we first started 8 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. And that comes down at the end of the day, right, to the communication between the athlete first and the trainer.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, and in my case, I was lifting my the 4x2s or 4x3s, whatever it was.
I think we're working at like a 3x2 or something.
So we're working the 3x2s. I was doing that leading up to my Sault Ste. Marie tournament.
Right.
So I was doing 3 sets to like squats, like or deadlifts, pushing like close to 300. And I was like, fuck, okay. And then going up and having to compete that weekend was it was a lot. But then at the same time, in those scenarios, it's tough because it's not, you try not, like this year I'll focus more on planning ahead when I'm gonna compete and save and like budget it both financially and physically, and tax my body that way and find out when I want to compete. But I found with some tournaments this year, they're like, yeah, I'll go.
It's just kind
of
impulsive.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, all right, this is the reason. This is why I'm gonna go. Like the one in the Sioux, I was gonna do provincials and not the one in the Sioux.
Right. Okay.
But the one in the Sioux was, it was for every 5 people that register, you get a hotel room free. I didn't pay for my hotel room. I paid for a meal and $70 to do both gi and no gi, and I got 3 matches. I would have had 4.
The you for it. You think he's gonna watch this one? No.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So.
Yeah, you guys closed that out, man. That was fun.
Yeah, his match was, fuck, I was so amped up. I was like, he would like take him down. There was this guy like Nicky Rodriguez, who's a insane, like, I think he was NCAA wrestling champion for whatever it was in
Okay,
the
yeah.
States, right? He's a really good high level wrestler, and he has a throw he does. You gotta watch Corey do it, but basically it looks like a hip toss the way he does it, but he lands and Corey just manhandled this guy. Again, this guy was like, you could tell he was like forward pressure, like wrestling. That was his
Yeah.
style, and Corey just beat him at his own game.
Corey's fucking strong, man.
And I was like, yo, yeah.
Dude,
So I was like, we were rolling yesterday, and I was like, dude, you just worked out, and like, you put me to the ground? Come on.
guy's a workhorse, man.
Dude, it's insane. That's why like I love him being one of my main like people I train with. Like if he's at training, I'm like, yo, we're
Let's go,
running
yeah.
this, yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys. I mean, I don't really know much about jiu-jitsu, but when I watch you guys, like, there's just good flow to it, and I think that's that being said, with Corey, like in his performance, he's strong, man, but
He's so strong,
he's been lifting like with Inspire consistently for like over 2 to 3 years now,
It's
right?
showing too.
And that's what I try to like justify to you guys, like put it this way, like Mitch and I had this conversation not too long ago, right? So like if you're in a match, right, and you got a guy, whatever, you compete at what, 165?
Yeah, 165, 170.
165, 170, right? So you have a guy that you're fighting against that's 165, 170. If you're stronger and you're able to lift, like obviously, like say you're picking him up, right? Like if you're able to translate, like if you're able to essentially pick him up without exerting as much energy, you're going to be a lot more efficient in that match, and that's where like strength training comes into play, right? Like if we just look at like a back squat, for example, and you can squat, let's say your one rep max is only like 225, right?
Yeah.
And then you got a guy who you're fighting against, but his back squat's like 350. He can do 225 for like 15, 20 repetitions, whatever it may be. It's gonna take a lot less energy for him to exert to get you up as opposed to it would for you to get him up, right? So that's where strength training comes into play, man. Like you're gonna be a lot more efficient in your sport because the demand on your body is gonna be a lot less, right? So I think that's where Corey has an edge. A lot of guys, obviously, like
100%.
He's a big 170, but he's strong, man. So he's efficient on the mats. He's not burning out right away because for him, he's not having to exert as much energy, right? So
I like that. To training with Corey, his mentality towards the drilling as well is also what I appreciate. With him specifically, is he's fluid with it, where a lot of people be like, and then like they'll torque a lot. It's like, all right, grip here. Some people be like, and like start, and I'm like, settle down.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be like, yo, calm down, man.
Yeah.
Like I know what you're going through, but chill. I don't. It's kind of because then if people are jolty, it means they're not as experienced. If they're not as experienced, they're not as confident.
Like they're game playing.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're not as confident, they're like, I need to like we're rolling, right? And I'm like, all right, you have me in a like armbar, for example, and you're not sure on the exact minutia that is required to close the armbar properly,
right?
So that you don't need much reef on the arm, but instead, because you're not aware of the details, I'm gonna work this guy's, and then it's like, hey dude, we're friends, we're training, and now I'm out for a week because you don't know what you're doing, right? Where it's like, okay, pinch the legs, kick the foot back, like try to open up their head, like stay close, don't be far, and don't just rip it. You want it close, whatever. Corey has a couple cool details he does with it as well, but
for sure,
yeah, that's one that confidence for it is why I like training with him specifically. So, but
I'm about to get on the mat soon. I keep saying I'm going
dude,
to, but
so your stomach's doing better though, eh?
Yeah. It's man. It's
Chicken broth.
I've been doing the bone broth a little bit.
Bone broth, that's what it is.
Yeah, Mitch actually recommended that. Yeah, man, it's tough. I was telling you before, like I got that parasite like over 1.5 years ago, and at first, man, I didn't I was experiencing all these symptoms, and I kind of just was pushing it aside, and I was just like, whatever, man, like just kind of trying to be like whatever tough about it and stuff. But I really was starting noticing, man, it was impacting my health quite a bit, and then I think when I went over to Ireland for school, it was getting like probably worse, and a lot of my friends were noticing. Like I dropped like 30 pounds in like 4 months.
Dude.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck's going on, man? Like something's not right, and I could feel it, man. I was like lethargic all the time, and I was like, so when I came back to Canada, I was like, man, I gotta get this shit figured out. So I went in, did a bunch of tests, and they're like, this bacterial infection, and it causes stomach ulcers. So I was like, fuck, man. But I was just trying to stay optimistic about it and kind of, you know, I'm so bad, man. I'll fucking, if I have something, I'm gonna research the shit out of it. So literally every day I was like looking up what it could be, like how am I gonna bounce back from this as soon as possible.
Dangerous.
Right? Yeah,
It's dangerous, dude.
yeah, man. You can't just fucking Google everything, right?
Especially when you have it too.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, man. So I kind of, it was really unfortunate because I was projecting this image of trying to, like, being a strength and conditioning coach, promoting health, promoting strength, and meanwhile my health was
Deteriorating.
It was terrible, man. Like, and a lot of clients were starting to notice. They're like, man, like, I had a couple clients like, man, you starting to look skinny, and I'm like, that's the worst thing you want to hear.
The worst thing you want to hear about strength and conditioning.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, man. Like, but I was still trying to stay consistent in the gym because I knew that if I stopped, just mentally, it was gonna fuck with me, right?
You need that confidence in your brain.
Exactly, and I knew that there would be a time where I'm gonna get better. So I was like, I just got to keep those habits because as soon as if I lose them and I stop working out, I stop doing the things that bring me joy. It's just gonna go downhill from there. And
smart. It's how you approach it, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like when you and I talked about the other day, just being grateful, man, for your health, and I was really happy when you made that post because not that I took my health for granted. But growing up, I was such a healthy person, and I was so athletic and just loved life, man. And then that year and a half where my health was at its worst, I was like, fuck, man, it gets depressing, right? And I think, just being grateful and realizing that there's so much that I am thankful for now. And I still have days where I feel like absolute shit, but I try not to portray that in the gym. I try to bring as much energy, and like you said, I was happy you said that. I was like consistent all the time because I was like, man, fuck, some days
don't feel consistent all the time.
Some days I feel like garbage, man.
That's good though.
And I think
it's not noticeable, and you're trying to keep that energy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think just being grateful for what we had, and then when you made that post, it made me really appreciate that. Like, obviously, some days are going to be good, and some days are going to be bad. But I think like the fact that I'm still able to go in the gym, I'm still able to do what I want to do. I can still hang out with my friends. There's so many things that I took for granted beforehand, and I think hopefully when I am like fully recovered or whatever it may be, like I'm gonna look back on that point in my life and realize that I made something for it. I didn't let it get the best of me because there was times where I was like, man, I don't know if I can keep fucking going on like this, man. Like this is awful, man.
Yeah.
Like just looking at myself in the mirror, like losing all this weight, and like people commenting, like, man, you look sick. Yeah, it's not the most
like people noticing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's not the most like it's not the nicest thing you want to hear, right?
No.
But it made me realize that like now that I am starting to feel better, and just be grateful what I do have, and be grateful that I'm able to do something that I want to do, and kind of just even just inspire you guys. Right? You know what I mean? But like
100%.
Yeah, you made that post, and it was like just being grateful. You said you're grateful for all the people you can bring on the podcast, 100%. And I think we don't do that enough. I really think that like especially at this point in our lives, of being in our early mid-20s, like things are coming by fast, and we just got to sit back and be thankful for what we do have, and be thankful that you're healthy, like thankful that I'm healthy now. So it's exactly. Just be grateful.
Yeah, so. Like you said, like we do take our health for granted for sure.
Yep.
I think a lot of that boils down to just. And Professor and I were talking at a tournament. There's like a lot of like out of shape young kids.
Yep.
Like big, and I was like, we were chatting. It was just observation I made. It's like, well, what do you like? Observe who the parents are. Yep. So I'm like looking. I'm like. You
can tell, right?
You can tell, and that's why it's tricky. Where like you have people, and you have to look at who their parents are, what their habits are,
right.
And you can see that, especially at a younger age. Like now, we're kind of like breaking free as much as they'll try to they give their opinions, whatnot. But I think a lot of that boils down to just where you come from, and if you're able to show gratitude to what you do have now.
Yep.
Like I appreciate that my parents were athletic, or that they were able to be in a position to support me to do all those sports, to find which one I enjoyed.
Right.
And now I'm able to be like, all right, I'm in a good space, I'm healthy, I don't need to lose weight to perform at a level I want.
Right. Yep.
I can now focus on like increasing my strength, increasing my like efficiency, my motivation, and just keep growing. I don't have to work to get to a level. And sometimes I'll think and be like, oh yeah, like, let's go, like it's sick rules, like you see
Pump your
this?
chest out,
Like,
yeah.
Like, call your friends, call the moms, you know.
Yeah.
But less of that. It's more you get to appreciate your health and stuff. And I was thinking, and why I did that post on top of and I'm glad you appreciate it as well. But it was as much of an appreciation for everyone to your health point. I was reading a lot of like there's a Meet a Weep like journal that I got when I did my trip to South America 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, last May.
Okay.
And I was reading into it, and then there's like a list of like 100 things to like practice being, or one of them, the first thing was practice being grateful. It was like 100 things to spark change.
Right.
And number one was practice being grateful. So I read that, and I was like, how do you practice being grateful? Like you just say, oh, I'm grateful. It's like, yeah, you know, but
show gratitude towards.
Yeah, exactly.
Others,
And you
right?
kind of, and it's just about making people aware that like that this is a best practice to do and this is best practice to have. And thinking back to that trip, there were a lot of like, example, I've had ringworm like 3 times.
Okay.
I get no, twice. Once on my hand and once on my like, fucking like on my shin, like right below my calf muscle. And I go in, I get Lamisil, rub it on, it's gone after 3 days.
Okay.
But thinking back to that trip when I was in South America, the amount of people who had ringworm and weren't able to do anything about it, they had in like 6 different places, dude.
Yeah.
It's like it's 38 degrees in the rainforest. It's humid, like they're getting that, they have that. We train in that environment to an extent. We train in that environment, and a lot of those people, they just live and exist in that environment, and they aren't able to have access to that kind of healthcare that we're able to have access to, and we take that for granted a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So just being appreciative of your health, like you said, I was like, it works.
Yeah, man. Like I asked me that 2 years ago. Were you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You know, asked me that like 2-3 years ago, or even just coming out of high school, man. Like I said, I took it for granted, and I think it's unfortunate that a lot of the time where you have to go through something, like whatever it may be, like in order to be grateful for what you did have, right? And I think I'll speak for myself. I'm going to try to practice that more, where not necessarily having to go through whatever it may be in my life, but just show the people I love and be grateful for what I do have without having to experience something negative, right?
Right.
Like I would have never thought. I'd always like when I started working out, it was for a confidence thing. I wanted to look good and feel good about myself. Now it's like I'm more prioritized on just trying to feel good and be happy and perform well. And I give a shit what I look like, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously that comes with strength training, resistance training, but I think just for me, I'm focused on feeling better. Right. And I think a lot of the clients inspired like yourself too. Like obviously you're an athlete, so it's different. Like you have performance based, but I think just trying to just feel better and like going back to the quality of life stuff. Is why I do it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some misconceptions people would have with strength and conditioning? Just from right off the top looking, going, oh, strength and conditioning, or when they hear what your profession is.
Yep.
What do you think some misconceptions are?
Yeah, awesome, man. So there's a huge difference between, I think, like a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning coach. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that. That's totally fine because it is such a new thing. Even like a few years back, like I knew that there was a team would have NFL or whatever, they would have their head coach, and that asked me that 5 years ago, and I didn't realize how big the strength and conditioning coach played a role in something, right? And a lot of misconceptions with training, man, and this is one thing I really try to explain to a lot of the clients, is that my job isn't to just run you in the ground.
Right.
Like there's a difference between a good workout and a hard workout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I was literally talking to a client about it the other day, and he goes, man, I feel like I could do more. And I was like, man, you've been in the gym with me for a month. I was like, man, you're jacked up. There's a lot of areas that we have to work on, like mobility wise, stability wise. Like you're not moving efficiently yet. Yeah. I was like, the time will come, man. But just be patient. Like I'm building you up. It's not like I'm just trying to start you off slow just because, right? There's a process to it. Yeah. And I think just going back, it's great to have someone there, you know, like yelling in your face. Like Corey made one of our young clients, he's like 15, made
I remember that. Yeah, he told me he was so proud.
Dude,
I'm proud.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, the kid did a PR on the roller, which is great, but he was fucking throwing up outside the whole time. And
came in, I was like, is he okay?
Yeah, there's a time and place for it. But with strength and conditioning, like, it's a science, man, and there's, like, for example, like, if you were to come in, we use a system called HRV, so it's heart rate variability, okay? So there's some sessions when you come in, it's like, fuck, man, I'm really tired, man. Like, I don't feel like I can perform optimally. I can't give my best performance today, right? We look at something like HRV. So your heartbeat, for example, like, obviously, you know, like heart rate, right? There's a heart rate variability. So the amount of time between those beats, okay? And it's, believe it or not, it's not the same. So it doesn't mean like your heart beats 1 second and then the next beat's gonna beat in a second. It might beat in 0.8 seconds and then 0.6 seconds. Right. It varies, right? Now, when we look at HRV, you can look at it, if you have a bigger discrepancy between those heartbeats, so you have a greater variability, that means that your body's able to handle stress at the moment and you're adapting to stress, you're adapting to resistance training. But if I'm fucking just killing you for 2 weeks in the gym, just fucking making you go to failure on everything, there's no structure to the workout, I'm just getting a good sweat, your heart rate's up, you're gonna fucking burn out, man. Yeah. And you're gonna come in those 100%. Sessions, your body's not gonna be able to perform optimally that day. Mm-hmm. Your variability between your heartbeats is gonna be very small. And we can look at that, like, that's what I think, like, people don't understand when a personal trainer, like, my job is to make sure that you get better over time. I'm not just fucking just drilling you into the ground, right? So when we look at things like HRV, that can tell me it's like, all right, Glenn's, he's recovering from his last session, he's good to go. All we do is like, you just put a heart rate monitor on, mm-hmm. And then we have different apps that you can use, but it can tell us the variability between those heartbeats. Nice. And he's like, he's good, he's in the green today, he's good to train. Whereas like a day where you come in, it's like, man, I'm really tired. Your body's going to tell you that. Right. The variability between your heartbeats is going to be very small, and it's going to be mm-hmm. frequent. Okay, so that's when that would be a session where we pull back. Right. And just going back, sorry, I keep ranting, man, but like,
no, go for it.
With people's misconceptions about strength and conditioning, like, my job isn't to just make you go as hard as you can. Like, there's structure behind it. Like, Mitch, when you developed Inspired, was to build a community and develop long-term clients. Right. Because I guarantee this, like, if you and I keep going for a year or 2 years, man, you're gonna be fucking unreal on the mats. Mm-hmm. You're just gonna be strong. You're gonna be fast. You're gonna be explosive. And I think, like Corey, for example, I have him doing what's called a French contrast. So we do like a strength lift followed by an explosive movement. Yeah. And dude,
is he an explosive now, eh?
Yeah, he's doing like a power phase right now. And he's like, dude, I'm noticing on the mats like crazy, man. It's like, I'm so fast off at whatever you guys off your back or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man, like, that's where programming comes into play. It's not like we're just gonna fucking, okay, we're gonna do an 8x12 on bench press, and this is gonna help your fucking, or whatever, like 3 sets of 8 to 12 on bench press, and that's gonna help you in jiu-jitsu, man. It's like, people have that misconception that like working out is just going in and getting a pump, and it's like, man, there's so many different realms. Like, you and I, right, have been working out for what, 3-4 months together, maybe a little bit longer. No?
Yeah, I'd say 4.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
Nice. But the thing is that, to your point, I've noticed a difference already.
Yep.
And so, like you said, 1-2 years down the road, it's,
dude, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, so am I.
It's fucking, it's cool, man, and it's,
watch out.
Going for that blue belt soon, right? Let's go.
One day.
But yeah, man, so like just going back to it, there's a science to strength and conditioning, and that's where coach really comes into play, and setting up your programming. Like, Troy's great for that. I've learned a lot about programming from him, and Mitch as well, and I think people have that misconception of training, and like, sometimes the clients are looking at me like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? And I'm like, there's a purpose on it. I'm not just throwing shit together, right? Like, literally, your weekly structure of your workouts is based off the amount of volume we're going to do, and if you're able to recover for that next session. There's a lot of work that goes into the programming aspect, and a lot of people don't understand that, which is totally fine, because that's our job, and your job is to show up and execute, do what we tell you to do, and you're going to see results. But as far as if you're looking at it, if you just want someone to yell in your face to, you know, and push you till you can't no more, until
like, go join the military.
Join the fucking military or something, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's a time and place, and I think there's some days where I'm going to be very, like, I'm going to pull back just the intensity, and then there's days where it's like, okay, Glenn, we really got to fucking push it, man, because we're beginning our 6-week block, and if we want this block to go right, like if because we're getting a little bit more into power, a power block now. Like I got you doing a little bit of French contrast stuff.
Yeah.
We really got to put in the work now, because 6 weeks from now, man, when we do that deload, when I peak you to whatever competition, you're gonna notice a huge fucking difference, man. And
excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man.
Fucking hand.
But yeah, so just going back, like misconception, I think people like with strength and conditioning is such a new thing that people don't understand exactly what we do, and that's fine because
people would affiliate it with personal training.
Yeah, and nothing against personal training, man. I think there's some good personal trainers. Like, if you just want to lose weight and your goal is aesthetics, man, like sure, like go in and do whatever, work with whoever. But if you want you want to get better at your sport, if you want to perform better, you want to move better. Like one thing we focus on Inspired a lot. A lot of there's some clients that when you're working out, like a lot of people are jacked up, man. Like Mitch is huge on just focusing on like mobility and making sure that you move efficiently right before we get you in. We always do a functional movement test beforehand.
Yeah, recall.
Just seeing how you move first, because we got to look at it from this aspect. So we focus on mobility, then we focus on stability, and then motor control. So the joint's able to move in the proper range of motion. We work on having it stable, and then we can work on like your kinesthetic awareness, how your body moves, right? But yeah, like with strength and conditioning, just know that it's a lot more than me just yelling in your face, like, all right, let's go, buddy, we're gonna do 10 reps, Nice. I'm there to motivate you, and 100%. I hope you guys are motivated when we are working out, but there's so much work that goes into the programming in order for you to execute and just be better, whatever sport is.
Right.
So.
And I think I have a trust in you guys, and I like the fact that I'm able to show up, and it's all done for me. That's what you pay for.
Yep.
But then you also pay for that. I like that part of, as I'm working out, I know I'm always like, fuck, Pat might be watching. Well,
I see you sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you can go, man.
Can't slack off. Yeah. Like, because I used to be like, oh, you could slack, you're by yourself, but it's like you'll be like, let's go, man. You go for another. I'm like,
I guess so,
like, yo, you got bear calls next. I'm like, you sure? You sure?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Let's go.
Whatever you say, boss. So
yeah, and that's what I think. Like I said, motivation. I'm there to motivate you to do it, because I think a lot of people come in, man. Like I got some guys like we start training at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get a lot of clients coming in before work, and no one wants to fucking work out at 5:30 in the morning. But me just like being on your ass, like, no, man, we're gonna do this. Like this is what I lay out for you. It's structured, that it's progressive throughout the weeks. We have to hit these certain numbers. We're gonna perform, and like no one wants to be doing that at 6 in the morning. But if you got someone keeping you accountable for it, then you're gonna do it. And I think that's why a lot of people come to us, because they realize that it's just an accountability thing.
Right. Now you're not just accountable to yourself, you're accountable to your training.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that's enjoyable. I'm like, fuck, I can't be late.
Yeah.
And you show up, you're there, you do your thing, and then I like the humor aspect. I like, fuck, nah, like, you sure?
Yeah.
Wait, this much weight?
Yeah.
It's like 5 or like 15 or 50? 50, no, 15?
50, yeah.